Well, hi, good morning, and thanks so much for joining me here in my shop for what might be the last video on this radio. I'm at the point now where I think everything is essentially working as well as it can, and it's more a question of the tuning of the radio, the internal tuning, the alignment, and that. The instructions for this radio are in German. My German is zilch. So I have picked up a couple of key things like the IF frequencies 460 and stuff like that, but I cannot read through those instructions and follow them exactly. On the AM shortwave side, I'm not so worried about that. I can probably wing it fairly well. I don't like doing that, but on the FM side, yeah, I'm a little nervous about that. If the radio were working in a really poor state, then I'd be gangbusters to do this. But because it's working fairly well, and is it working fairly well? So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to go through and assess each band fairly carefully and decide if it's good to go, or if there really would be some benefit to me in messing around with the alignment in this radio. So how to do that? I mean, obviously I can just play the radio and listen to it. That's probably a pretty good start right there. So let's do that. I have it up on a turntable so I can steer the AM antenna better, and I've reverted back to just this test bench speaker for sound. Another really good indication of the operation of the radio is how much the eye is closing, and in this radio now the eye is closing pretty good. Oh, one way to make the speaker work is to connect the wires. Okay, so we're on the medium wave band. Let's start right at the bottom. Long wave band, I don't expect anything to be here except noises. Yeah, if I pick up a voice at this point there's a problem with this radio. And the antenna I'm using is, I'm not using anything at all. Well, maybe this loop antenna. So obviously, long wave is using the loop antenna. Okay. And the receiver is receiving. Seems to have gone a little quiet here. Now, is this the high end or the low end of this band? It's the low frequency end of the band. It's gone right down 150 kilocycles. A little lower, we'll be able to hear the signal with our ears. Yeah, if I actually picked the station up here, it would freak me out. Okay, let's go for medium wave. Start at the bottom here. Most of the good or more stronger AM stations in my area are down in this part of the band here. 590 should be the first strong station. That might be it right there.
Going for a 3-games to none series lead this afternoon.
Looking at the eye. Just it's barely moving the eye. So this is a strong AM station, 590 sports station. It's usually the easiest station to pick up with a radio. Another strong station coming up here.
Something your grandpa might do. This, we uplifted everybody, but let's be consistent here and bring them back down to earth. Specifically, this is awful. You know, Heather Purdon, our producer, is like, what?
It's something called called Earth Overshoot Day. It's a date when humanity has basically used up all of the resources, the biological resources that the Earth can renew on itself annually.
Again,
And
it's showing almost no reaction here.
1970. Apparently this year,
The volume's kind of in the normal range.
Saturday. So happy Earth Overshoot.
This is a little worrisome. Let's just keep going. Watch this thing. The noise signals are stronger than the radio signals. Things are getting pretty quiet up here. Now there is a station at 850. Oh, it's way down. 850. Somewhere in here, but we're well past that already. There's a 1010 here. I was fascinated by the way when I listen to noise like this and I'm listening really hard to hear a voice, I start hearing them. But they're not really there. It's the power of our brains to try to pull some meaning out of the nonsense that we live in all day. Poor brain. So here the radio is starting to exhibit good sensitivity here. It's moving this eye a lot, even though these are noise signals. And that's all there is up here. So it's showing good sensitivity up here, but down here, it just went quiet. So that's almost certainly an alignment issue, and that encourages me to look at doing an alignment thing on here. Now the shortwave band's a little, like the AM band is kind of the, I was going to say it's the same thing all the way from left to right in terms of its behavior in the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff. But actually it's a heck of a range. The AM band starts at 500 and goes up to 1500. That's a factor of 3. If you look at the shortwave band, it starts at 6, goes to 18. Hey, that's a factor of 3. Same thing. So the reason I was going through that was in my mind I'm asking myself, well, this deadening at one end of the band that I can pick up on the AM band, which suggests to me is alignment, is it true of the shortwave band, which we're about to listen to? And shortwave, what a sad story for shortwave these days. I'm going to put this on the antenna connection here. It's a big difference on the AM band. Let's just whip through it quickly here. Let's just zero volume. $590. Well, that makes quite a difference. Doesn't help pick anything up though. Let's tip it this way. Okay, and we'll take off the outside antenna. So one of the things about the radio in my shop here is that it's not plugged into a grounded outlet. It's plugged into a isolation transformer, and this whole radio is essentially floating relative to Earth until I connect this lead. I connect this lead and then present a real Earth ground to the chassis, and it changes the position of the radio, if you like. It changes things. This works much better with its own antenna up here. But I need to put this on for the short wave side of things. Okay. Okay, and we'll go to the, let's go to the bottom of the, so we're at 6 megacycles here. Put the antenna back on. And normally I would connect this. I'm going to take a run down to another spot in my house and just make sure a switch is thrown a certain way. Okay, just making sure my antenna lead here is connected to an outdoor antenna, which it is. Doesn't sound right to me. Seven.
Críticas en las redes sociales al desabastecimiento de alimentos, una de las causas del infierno.
8 megahertz. Sound or noise level came up. Just doesn't sound right to me.
Quiere saltar a un mundo desconocido. Muy diferente al hermoso futuro prometido a todo quien ame y obedezca.
Can't zero out the volume.
Te me estás adelantando. Y Pedro. El futuro prometido a las creyentes va más allá que cualquier cosa que nos imaginemos. Pero siempre habrá un pero.
Strong signal showing up here.
Tenemos que pasar por algunos eventos bastante horrendos. Y de eso es de lo que espero que hable Sol.
We're at about, hard to believe, just above 8 megahertz, hard to believe. There shouldn't be a station there, I don't think. So my antenna also has ups and downs in terms of its strength. Everything got pretty quiet up here. Is that because I left the volume turned right down? No. Beautiful.
Señalan como la principal fuente de contagio. Un usuario de Twitter que se identifica como Arapes.
This is up around
Increíble.
13, close to 14 megahertz. That's a European band. Now these signals we're hearing are almost certainly coming from southern United States, Cuba, that direction, south from here. Actually, oddly enough, even though I live on the east, kind of the east side of North America, sort of, east central North America, if you go due south from my house, about 2,000 miles, you end up 1,000 miles off the shore of South America in the Pacific Ocean. Because North America is here, South America is actually over here. There you go. Just in case you didn't know that. Well, this is a ham radio sound. These are ham radio guys. They're quiet at the moment. There was one there a moment ago, doing their digital communications. You know, you do realize a lot of those short forms that are used when you're texting, like LOL and stuff like that, came from Morse code. Came from ham radio guys. For the same reason, too lazy to tap the whole thing out. Okay, we're up around 16 now. We're way up in the air. 17. Gets all the hissy up here for some reason. Right around 15. So yeah, I know the conditions could be that there really is nothing up there to pick up. It's probably the case. It's ham radio Morse code, unmodulated. That's some more ham radio there, very faint. This is the 20 meter band, very popular during the day. Ham radio, not a dying hobby. Same guy.
Yolanda Huerga, Radio Televisión Martí.
So that's Radio Martí. So Radio Martí is a radio service the Americans set up to broadcast into Cuba to give Cuba the American troops. But my own personal opinion is it's actually serving people in Florida who have come from Cuba, and many people like that, I believe, living in Florida. I'm guessing that's where its audience really is. So just exactly where's the propaganda being steered here? I don't speak Spanish, so I have no clue what they're saying. Well, you know, it's not bad, considering the conditions right now. I'd have to bring another radio in here that I know works well and try that. And compare them. I have another radio that needs to be tested. I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring the other radio in here that needs to be checked out, just like this, on shortwave. And I think we'll have some fun comparing the two of them. I like that idea. I'm going to go get it. Okay, I think I'm ready here to do a comparison. Now, both these radios have been on my bench, and both are in the same state. They need to be tested for real-world operation. And I just have been slack and haven't done this radio. I just plan to hook it up somewhere else in my house in the evening and have a listen with it. I haven't done it, so I'm going to do it now, even though this is a terribly inappropriate time and I'm not absolutely sure this guy's reception is great. But check this out first. If this radio's still operating here, if I turn on my soldering iron, check it out. Yeah, good soldering iron. Okay, so I switch that off. Now we're going to just listen to this radio. Turn it on for the first time in a little while. Volume down. Power on.
Their 5-hour workday accounts for most of the time they spend outside their cells. Violence.
This radio has a lovely sound.
Prisoners arm themselves with handmade knives, and a stench permeates the air.
Ooh, that's a Canadian jail they're talking about. Okay, and that's kind of a semi-fictional story on this station right now I happen to be aware of. Let's go shortwave. The antenna I'm connected to is just this wire, just going up here and disappearing out of view. So it's like a meter's worth of wire. That's all to start with. And we're at 10 megahertz, and this radio was picking something up. Where? Right around 14. It's all going to be ham stuff, isn't it? There we are. It's supposed to be at the high end of the 13 megahertz European shortwave band. It's tough to catch something fading out. Let's find something stronger to start with.
Siempre hacen su voluntad. Si ellos necesitan estar atados, por lo tanto, no sean malvados. Esa profecía contiene un elemento de tiempo muy...
So on here it shows it at just above, right, oh, it's about 9.5. This is probably 9330 in fact. Let's take a guess. We'll just type in 9330 here.
Para crear un baño de sangre universal en un espacio de 1 hora. Y en 1 hora el número de muertos se extenderá a más de 2.000 millones de vidas humanas. Ahora bien, es duro concluir que esto no sucederá hasta muy, muy cerca del cierre de la libertad condicional. Esto es mucha información para digerir.
Okay, now, both radios are receiving it, but this is a really strong signal. So let me go up band with this one, actually this way, to the next station, if we can find it. I better go up in frequency. Something there, but wow, it's really on the edge. See the pre-selector automatically adjusting here. Somebody, anybody. What was that? I think that was this operating. Chirp is when this automatically readjusts. Here we are. What is this? This is the, so I'm going to guess this is the local oscillator coming out of this radio. So I'm going to tune this radio and see if this one varies. Yeah. That's what it is. This gives me a chance to calculate the IF frequency in this radio. I'm not going to do it though. Let's keep going. Shut this up. Up. Oh, I just jumped. Let's do this. One thing should be one thing that I find with these more modern digitalized radios is tuning them manually with a knob is usually a really crappy experience. It's inefficient and ineffective. And that's the case with this radio. This one even has a feature when you turn the knob fast enough, it figures you want to go quickly. So it imitates spinning the knob a little bit. And in the end, for me, it's confusing. I suppose with more skill, I get used to operating this radio. This one, on the other hand, like any old radio, the knob moves the pointer quite a distance. It's actually much easier to scan around and see what's there. It's also easier to go right by things. So I'm going to go up band, frequency-wise, until we find something else. That's 9330. We're on 12 megahertz here. And again, I'm just operating with this green wire here too. I can't forget that. Somewhere around 12, because I don't think this dial is accurate. 12. Let's go. 12. Okay. That thumping that noise was again the pre-selector automatically tuning. Some strange sounds there. So that you know, I'm not swearing that this is the case. That could be a type of radar system. Could be all kinds of stuff. So we're not really in a shortwave band here. Yeah, let's go up to where there's a band. 13,400. European band. It's a great time for listening to shortwave radio, isn't it? Yeah, it's frustrating. Let's go back to this one. Let's still tune to the station.
De manera general fueron contactos de casos con no se saben.
It's like a very top end of 13 is what it looks like to me.
En total, 10 de todos los diagnosticados, de los 17 diagnosticados que estaban asintomáticos, con ellos suman ya, se llega a 54% del total de diagnosticados en Cuba. En todo este tiempo han estado en esta situación. Permanecen ingresados con enfermedad activa, 540 ingresados, 527 de ellos evolucionan favorablemente. Hay 3 personas en estado crítico y 10 graves. Ayer se dieron 58 altas y esto significa que ya en Cuba el 82,4% de los que han enfermado de
Okay, I got another trick up my sleeve here.
952, bien diferente sigue siendo la situación del mundo. 22 millones en el mundo, 787.773 fallecidos, una localidad de 3,51% que recupera ahí la situación de Latinoamérica, donde está el 53,74% del total de casos que se detectan en el mundo. 12.061.100 casos.
We'll beat the signal generator against this radio, and then the number is going to appear.
Ya suma 5.529.842 casos. Y Brasil, que ayer diagnosticó a 1.212 personas más, ya tiene 3.456.652 enfermos, de los cuales, bueno, aquí no tengo anotada las cifras de muertes, pero Estados Unidos, epicentro de la pandemia, y las Américas, aquí ya les decía que está el 53% de las personas.
13,735.
Cobrando fuerza, incluso repunte importante en varios países europeos que habían tenido un comportamiento bastante discreto o bajo control durante la primera parte de la pandemia. Ahora
Can't do it with the little wire antenna, so we'll now connect this radio to the bigger antenna. Just $13,735. He didn't show up. There he is. It's actually 740. Now remember, this guy's playing out of this temporary speaker. It's not even his real speakers. That's what that sounds like. A lot more trouble over here. Maximum treble, maximum bass. Maximum treble. Bandwidth is maximum. Just adjust the pre-selector slightly here. Okay, now if we look at the signal strength, this is another thing that's a little crazy to compare, but this is getting up around the number 4. That's pretty high on this radio, I think. Noise is at up around this signal strength. It's quieting the noise quite a bit on here. I do have treble up and bandwidth wide open. And my familiarity with either of these radios is limited, of course. Watching the signal strength meter here. Not much signal strength on here, but the sound's not that bad, really, considering what we're doing. Now, how listenable is this? I'm certain if I could speak the language, I would know exactly what he's saying. Now, we'll take a look at this one. Well, I think the reception is really quite comparable. That's what I think. Now, either they're both not very good, or they're both pretty good. And I think pretty good is really where we're at here. Listen to that.
Nicaragua en el E y Trinidad y Tobago en el F. Los 6 países ganadores avanzarán a la segunda ronda en enfrentamientos directos.
Not very good treble response coming out of this.
La final será entre 8, los 3 vencedores de la segunda fase y los 5 mejores por ranking de la FIFA hasta el 16 de julio de 2020.
Julio, ¿did you say Julio?
2021 y se va a extender hasta marzo del año 2022. Los 3 mejores se clasificarán directamente para el evento de Qatar, o sea, el Mundial, y el cuarto lugar buscará otro boleto.
So we'd really have to put that speaker on this radio to compare properly this radio to this radio, because the speaker difference is dramatic here too. I made somewhat of a repair attempt at the speaker in this radio, which was completely shot, and now it's less shot. It's still not. It's not like a brand new speaker, I don't think. So now what's this say about doing an alignment? It does not encourage me to align this radio on the shortwave band. And the fact that it's working fairly well suggests that the IF part of the radio is working fairly well. On the AM band, at some point it became fairly strong up at the high end of the thing. That also indicates the IF is working okay. At the low end of the AM band, sensitivity went in the tank. That's probably really the target that I should aim, to try to bring up the AM band where it's faltering. So, you know, if that's basically the green light's coming on to do a little bit of alignment work. So in order to do that properly, you really have to verify that the IF is in the ballpark on this radio. You know, I've been operating this too with low voltage all this time. 110 volts, so it's kind of a little low, but it shouldn't make any difference. Great, alignment. Okay, next thing we can do, I've got my signal generator going. I'm just going to move this radio out of the way here. That is a beautiful radio. That's a real keeper. The owner of this radio should be pretty happy. It's got this automatic pre-selector tuning. Like, watch, I'll punch in a frequency, and instead of up around here, I'll punch in where are we? Shortwave. I can punch in, you know, 3.5 or something like that, and you can watch what the radio does. 3500. Go. Go. Oh, didn't like that at all. All 8s. Okay, so I boobed up. Wait till it stops. Oh, I kiboshed it. Okay, I stuck half a number in, didn't mean to. So we're at 18. Why wouldn't it take 3.5? 3.5. Maybe I gotta do 3.5. I can do 2.5. Hurry, Jim. 0.5. I just don't know how to operate this radio. What am I doing wrong? Shortwave band. Well, has this thing gone berserk? Well, let's just clear it off here. Now it's got the 2.5. Oh, I turned this off. That's what's going on. We'll turn on the pre-selector now and watch what it does. Okay, sorry about that. Forgot about this button. So now I'll set it to, let's say, 15 megahertz, and you can watch it, the pre-selector work again. 15. This is what is so cool about this radio. 15, go. Now, is pre-selector front-end tuning really? Is it right on? Usually isn't. So you do a little manual stuff. Watch the meter. Yeah, so it's a little off. You can hear WWV in there very faintly. Wow. That's a great test. Okay, can we hear that on here? Yeah, this is a good test. I like this one. Can we do it? 15. So 15's right here. I thought to say that's where 15 really is on this band. I'm tuning in something really weak. So I'm going to help myself by using the signal generator. Tune here, 15.2 on that dial. And we'll find out using the signal generator where I really are. Where I really are. Where are I? Just below 15. Just below. Did it go away? Okay, other radio. I can make it out. Okay, let's get this guy right on 15 here. I can't read the numbers here, but I'm going to set this to 15. Oh, it's just above. There it is. Can we hear WWV? Now this sound that's happening right at 15 could be because I'm actually picking up two time signals, one from Hawaii and one from Boulder, Colorado. I'm not saying that's the case, but it does sound like a heterodyne of two signals, and I definitely heard this kind of thing happen with WWV and WWVH. What do we hear here? So I can definitely hear the timing in here. Let's tune this one just a wee bit here. I don't get any sensation of a heterodyne from another interfering signal. It sounds just like very weak. There it goes. Time signal just went off. Sounds like a really weak WWV. Come on, man, you can do it. Can't do it. Go up, find a station. Come on. Anybody. The religious station. According to this, I'm a $1.16. There's no way. Where are we? $15,820. $25. Needs a little bit of calibration on my counter. Okay, now we got two nice stations to weak to listen to. Sounds great over here. Okay, we'll switch to the other guy. Fading right out. That's good though. We need it. Really hard to tune that. So we look at the meter here. It's basically not moving at all. There's a little bit there. We watch the magic eye on this radio now. And tune through this, but you can't even hear it. What am I tuning through? Nothing. There actually is a tiny little movement in there. So on a sensitivity basis, I'm pretty sure this guy's winning here. I like the sound of this radio more. And while I was praising the old style tuning here, there's a lot of problems with the old style tuning. In fact, this radio is not band spread, so it goes all the way from 18 megahertz to 6, which means a little movement of the knob. You're jumping a lot of frequency. It makes it really easy to just flash right by stations and not even know they're there, especially if they're weak. This one, there's no flashing by. Okay, so now we have some evidence of not as sensitive on the shortwave band as this really excellent radio over here, but actually, you know, it's not bad, is it? Okay, I've convinced myself what I need to do is verify the IF, perhaps peak it, and do that and see what happens, and we'll worry about the rest of it later. Would have been going for about a half an hour. Let's do the IF part of this radio anyway. Okay, more room on my bench again. Now, the deal here is I'm going to be hooking up this signal generator. Not too interested in the output level, but I do have a thing called an antenna simulator right here, this little box. So what the signal generator sees is 50 ohms, and what the radio sees is 300 ohms. So the radio thinks it's hooked up to a pretty ordinary antenna. That's kind of the idea. So we're going to ground on here. Put the other antenna. Let's just knock down the output. Okay, so I've hooked it up to the antenna, even though we're going to try to pass a signal through the IF at the IF frequency. We're going to pick, we could pick shortwave or medium wave. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. Let's go down here. Abandon the plan, abandon the plan. Take this off here. 640. There we go. 590. 590.
Game 1, 50 points in game 2. And a 38 shooting. Hasn't made a three-point shot yet. But 24 and a half. Way too many points for the Birds. Maybe overestimating the fact that Joe Harris is out of the lineup, thinking that maybe he'll pick up some on the top. I just don't see this game get up to 20, 22.
Quieter that time. Okay, let's go back to what we're doing. Volume down. You may never get those buttons perfectly reliable. Okay, now we want to tune the radio off. Now we're going to try to put, it's not we're putting 15 megahertz into there right now. I don't think that's going to do much. We're going to put 460 kilohertz into here. Okay, just make this a little easier to see. That's right. Turn the light off and trip over that other radio. That's what I did there. Okay, so 460. Is it really 460? Give it a little more juice. All right, we'll go a little more juice. Now we're going to tune, it's just right on 460. We'll tune through it and see if it's a nice consistent variation in the sound. There's nothing there for me to tune or adjust. It's right on the money. The other thing was the very front end of the broadcast band. I don't think I should fool with it. After all this, I think the name of the game is she's done. She's good. The main thing is FM. Let's go back and listen to FM one last time. I need to put a type of an FM antenna here, if you like. Okay. Okay, man, this is your chance to shine. FM, and we want to be up at the very, start at the low end. This is the high end. Start at the high end. So this is a European banded radio. It ends at 100 megahertz, and some of the more favorite stations around here are actually above that, especially in Toronto, up above 100. Too bad, not coming in on this radio. Okay, here we go. Now I really got to watch out for copyright hits. They've been generous with copyright hits on my videos lately. You may have noticed from some rough edits here and there.
And getting, oh man, I'll tell you what, blessed are peacemakers.
So I'm going to tune through this station, and what I'm listening for is a small reception, strong, good reception, and then small reception on the way out.
Blessed are the peacemakers. You know, as Christians, we ought to be known.
That's exactly what it did. So the alignment here is
chilly with the low only dip into 15. Might see a few more showers before Saturday morning. Saturday, sun and clouds for the afternoon, warming up to 27. And Sunday, probably going to round out the weekend with another cloudy day and off and on showers as well. High at 26. Right now, it's 20 degrees in Muskoka, and it might...
in the morning I listen to the CBC. They have basically two broadcasts, or they have big city broadcasts, so there's one in Toronto, one in Ottawa, but then there's kind of a country broadcast, covers the whole province. That's what I listen to up here. I listen to a broadcast for the country. When the weather comes, the weather consists of about 9 weather reports to cover Ontario. It's quite funny to listen to it. You have to listen very carefully to when they get to your area. That's how much weather there is in Ontario. It can be, yeah. There's a lot of weather in Ontario. A lot of weather in Canada, I think. A lot of variations in the weather. That's really what I mean. Again, you got to tune this radio bang on to get a good sound. But take your time to tune it. It's fantastic.
Scene. It's on cue. Coming up next. And the Conservative leadership vote is happening this weekend. We'll have special coverage starting tonight on the National, then through the weekend on CBC Radio, the House, and you can get your 2 cents in.
Maybe they'll do the weather.
Check up, of course. Sunday, tune in to watch our special starting at 5 p.m. Eastern on News Network, CBC TV, cbcnews.ca, and GEM. Or you can listen on CBC Radio 1 and on the CBC Listen app starting at 6:30. Then join guest host Catherine Cullen Monday morning on The Current. She'll talk to Conservatives about what the results mean and what's next for the party. I'm Duncan McHugh, Jim McGuitch. Thanks for listening to The Current. Have a great weekend.
It's my VU meter.
This is CBC Radio 1, 98.7 FM in Peterborough.
Master recording VU meter radio.
I'm Andrew Chang.
And I'm Adrian Arsenault.
The news is more than just a headline.
It's about the stories that matter to you and your community.
It's about where you live and how you're connected to the rest of the world.
For the news that you can trust and the stories that impact your life,
join us on The National,
Canada's nightly newscast.
The National with Andrew Chang and Adrian Arsenault. Tonight on CBC and CBC Gem.
The CBC News is next, followed by Q.
For the first time in 52 years, Toronto's Caribbean Carnival got cancelled this summer. The DJ, Dr. J.D. Soca Prince, lives and breathes the soca music scene in Toronto. He'll tell you how the community reacted to the disappointment and how he's planning to boost morale.
This is CBC News. From CBC Toronto, it's 10 o'clock. Good morning, I'm Nicole Martin. Light rain, 21 degrees right now. We'll see a high of 29 today. Well, the Premier and Prime Minister will be holding a news conference together in Brockville.
Okay, so the big announcement is that we've got a manufacturer who's going to make masks for us in our country. We don't have a mask manufacturer in Canada. We're relying on the U.S. Better not do that anymore. and China. Better not do that anymore. So that's what that news is about. Okay, wow, you know, when it comes to this radio's operation on FM, the sound is glorious, and some of that is because it's not stereo. Stereo introduces some more complications, and most of the time when we're listening to the radio, we could care less if it's really in stereo, especially voice, and CBC has a lot of voice stuff, so stereo doesn't mean anything with voice. So fantastic, look at that, fantastic. We're done. So from here, it's into the cabinet for another little check.